Was at 2, so you can start the meeting.
Okay. So calling this meeting to order at 1 p.m. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the City of Cloverdale Infrastructure Subcommittee meeting for May 4th, 2026. City Clerk Maloney, would you please call the roll?
Thank you, Chair. We have Chair Marquez present, Vice Chair Lasky present, City Manager Thompson, and Superintendent Galvan. And I assume Public Works Director Montani is on his way.
Yeah, he'll be here in a minute.
And then just so that council's aware, we do have 2 members from our finance department tuning in, but they don't have items. So, but if you have anything, you can call on them if needed.
Excellent, thank you. So moving on to public comment. The public may speak on any item not listed on the agenda at this time. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the subcommittee is not allowed to consider issues or take action on any item not listed on the agenda. Typically, public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone who will be making a public comment, please state your name prior to the comment for the record. Seeing none, we'll move on. There was one written comment that will be attached to the agenda. And folks can go to cloverdale.net Agenda Center to access the written comment. And moving on, there's no minutes to approve. So we'll move on to business items. First up is water and wastewater projects.
Yeah, maybe can we rearrange this agenda a little bit because Derek's on his way. If that's okay.
Oh,
we can move on to something that Hector's more involved with.
We bring in community garden management plan.
Yeah, we can start with item 7.
So start with item 7.
So Hector, I'll just start out a little bit. Hector's been gathering different rules and regulations from all the different cities around. Well, not all, but several: Ukiah, Healdsburg, and Windsor. Now we've got some more information from Kings Valley. So our goal is to I don't know if I'm taking what you're
you're
going
good
to say.
No, good stuff.
On May 23rd, we were hoping to bring the management plan to the council for consideration. And in the meantime, I sent an email to people who are interested, trying to get them rallied up and get them primed up to do their part of this project, which is hopefully most of it actually. So I think I'm gonna send another email to them either this week or early next week, just queuing them up. When we have a draft, we can send them that too, once it's published in the agenda.
How many people are on that email thread?
What was it, about 8 or 10?
Really, yeah.
Yeah, and we're still trying to make a sign that we're gonna put out, just a simple sign at the site, Home of Future Garden, click here to get involved.
Like a QR code.
Yeah, QR code. We've just been pretty busy with the meetings and stuff, so I don't know, Hector, if you want to talk about what.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we can get that sign up pretty quick. No, so we I met with Kevin, touched on it a little bit. I met with the City of Healdsburg, had a couple of Zoom meetings with them, our neighboring cities. Had a couple of Zoom meetings with City of Windsor. Thank you for the contracts. It's been great. The City of Healdsburg, they both have similar programs. The City of Healdsburg has a program that meets pretty closely to what we want to achieve here with the city. Their volunteer waiver is great. The form is great. And their laws and regulations will apply here. So we're probably going to get most of the information from the City of Healdsburg. They've been helping us out with that. Like Kevin mentioned, we're close to getting to bring it up to City Council for approval. We're working on it. Everything's moving pretty quickly. And as far as, since we're here now, I might as well talk about a little bit the construction of it.
Yeah.
So we have that section of irrigation is completely turned off now. So it's not getting any water, so we're not wasting any water. I ordered the wood to start building the boxes. That's been ordered.
When you say ordered, with the second, I thought I heard we were gonna try to get that donated.
We had a line item for wood to purchase the wood to build the boxes. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't, we can still probably, if people want to donate towards it.
Shed, maybe we were thinking.
We're thinking the donation, and the picnic tables will be an item too. But even if somebody was interested in donating it. So the wood is there, so we're working on that, the irrigation's capped off. And then hopefully here, we're pretty busy with mowing and trying to open the open, to get all that stuff ready for the open space, so hopefully we can start actually the construction here in the next few weeks. Everything's moving pretty quickly now, so. Pretty much it for the community garden.
And our goal is next spring, wanted the people organized and get it, did it already, like you mentioned, you went and visited Windsor, and so it's got people behind it. I think our goal really is to get it up and running, and it over.
The boxes are gonna look just like the ones in Windsor, we got the plans from them. For our boxes are
2x12.
Yeah, they're gonna look 2x12, 2x6.
I just wanted to announce, Public Works Director Montagnier has joined us.
Yes, my apologies. I had this
Fine,
meeting
okay.
scheduled for 2 o'clock today,
And,
as did the water plant operator, so he's not able to make the 1 o'clock schedule.
That's at 106. That was a good point that Norm Berlasky was making about just the purchase of the wood, and that I think when we get this going, there might be an opportunity for donations.
Yes.
One of the subjects that came up at the admin subcommittee was about the fence. And
Yes.
I had a conversation with the ladies at Windsor regarding the fence, and they were the fence that they had previously was a 3-foot fence.
Yeah.
And they were having people were jumping the 3-foot fence, and they just raised it to 5 feet, and that simple change, just height, just really, they said they haven't had any issues since they raised the fence up to 5 feet.
What kind of, do they like a deer fence or?
Kind of a grid, like a metal grid, kind of maybe like 6 by 3,
Yeah,
grid fence, so it doesn't look too bulky or, I mean, it looks nice. Yeah, they have like wooden fence posts and then metal grid. I have some photos I can send those to you.
Well, yeah, there, I think we do need a deer fence.
you do, yeah, because there's a lot of deer there, I've seen one last weekend when we got called out, I saw them out there, so. And that's, yeah, they have it's like 5 feet tall. I've seen it, and then the 4x4 posts and stuff, that would look great, that would look good.
People could maybe grow stuff on it too, maybe, just to.
A little vine.
Yeah.
They normally do that, yeah, on some of their exterior
Tomatoes.
plots.
Yeah, no, that'd be great,
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of great examples that we have here.
yes.
Sounds like.
Thank you.
will take off well.
Yeah.
Is there any comments on community garden? Okay.
Thank you for the information.
So with number 7 off of our list, we'll pick back up at item number D1. Which would be water.
Okay, so water and wastewater projects. I'm not sure if you guys had viewed the not the infrastructure, but the administrative subcommittee. I just kind of gave a budget overview. I'll give you that budget overview and then more of a in-depth project overview for the first subcommittee. So we do have a couple of large projects ongoing. We have the Cherry Creek tank, which is also known as the South Crest tank. We've decided to move forward with calling the project Cherry Creek tank. We're gonna move away from South Crest tank. Unfortunately, a lot of these ongoing projects have had multiple names over the years, and they get very confusing when you start doing detailed work. So we've done a hydraulic evaluation of the system surrounding the Cherry Creek tank. That was budgeted for 77,700. We're billed out to date 75,440. Contract is closed. We have received the hydraulic evaluation. It has gone to council. And then that helped us with the allocation of the design criteria for the design of that tank. We were with a large retaining wall and 2 tanks. So that's the Cherry Creek tank design. We're in contract for that. That's $668,705. Total contract that'll get us to design, bid documents, and then initial construction management. Billed to date, we have $182,450 billed out to that project today. We are ongoing I think we have a project meeting in the next couple weeks with the engineers. They're doing some research. We're at a 30% design right now. We're gonna, move it down to that 60 and that 90%, and we're gonna still continue with that project. The city engineer has released a memo requesting that the project be paused until we can assess other housing development projects and stuff like that, but it is kind of the council's direction to move forward with that project, to not continue to push it down.
And is the other housing projects that are mentioned, is it considering prospective development or ones that are in progress right now?
Technically not in progress. No.
Okay.
Well, 7 and 8, we have a DWR grant that we received. We drilled 2 new wells. Neither of those wells contributed in addition to the water production of the plant. We're working with the county to look at other options for those wells. I've asked to see if we can use one of them for a groundwater recharge project. But currently at this time, those wells are not adding any water production on the books. We went through with phase 1 of that project, which included design of phase 1 and phase 2, drilling the wells, doing all the deviation studies and everything. The contract for the design was $452,375. The well construction itself contract was $612,736. That was a formal bid document procedure. Unfortunately, we only had a single contractor bid on that. And so we elected to go with them and move forward with
This specialty trade,
around here with the amount of wells that are being drilled. Yeah, it's gonna
was it like Meeks or?
well industries for Chico.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So do they hold a C license or a?
They have
The general engineering?
they have a general engineering license, but I forget the designation for the special well drilling.
So when we put those IFBs out, do we go through the builders exchange or is there?
Yeah, they get all that stuff.
And we just go to one? Do we go to North Bay Business Journal? Do we go,
So what we do is, we run it for this project. I think North Bay Builders Exchange did get a copy of it. I'm not sure how much they do well project stuff, but we did.
maybe in the future, we should look into getting on Building Connected. That's a wider map, wider blanket to get more invites. That's throughout, well, Chico's throughout the state, but I think we get more players.
Yeah, the inquiries we had were throughout the state, Nevada and Oregon. But ultimately, when it came to turning in the bid and doing a job site walk around and things like that, there was only one company that wanted to perform all those.
And they give us lump sum or do we ask for breakouts?
It's detailed.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
broken out.
Because they have different phases of pump development and well development, things like that. And through this process, we actually moved some hours around between pumping development and actual well development stuff. But this project completed, it's
No, I'm just, I'm talking all that, but I'm just saying for future projects and protect us from cost increase.
yeah, so we have like with streets projects, we're gonna start to bake in the Caltrans. It's a Caltrans standard spec for like oil cost and all the rate rates that a lot of municipalities are doing it. But we also list everything on the website. California Cost Accounting Code has a very specific way you formally bid a project. You have to run it in the paper for a certain amount of days, you have to advertise at a certain amount of spots, you have to receive, you have to get feedback from somebody.
I'm not sure I trust the end game with Caltrans either, because if you look at Highway 101, Wade Gelati transition from North County to Marin County to Sonoma County, and they did the whole thing. There's like no punch list item to go back and correct.
No, well, I'm saying they have an oil index. That's like the Caltrans standard, so
Yeah.
you're only allowed to raise the paving job by this dollar amount. You can't say like, you can't get a bid and then a contractor go, well, oil prices doubled, so our price doubled. You gotta, you know, there's no way to guard into that. We're just using that Caltrans.
Okay, yeah, I'm just thinking, but when we start doing our streets and whatnot, we need to have a roadmap for accountability. Just like, you know, when they did all that stuff down at the end of town, they come in, tear up the streets, walk away, and there's no accountability. So I just wanna make sure when we hit, not to go on a tangent, but it's probably around here, but street repairs. Good, anyway, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So we've received $1,067,134.45 from the DWR grant. There is a few bills that the city themselves has to pay that's not gonna be covered by the grant. But they're very minimal, so the lion's share of that project was grant funded so far. And we're not gonna move forward with the phase 2 with the integration and the pumping and all that, because it just doesn't merit it right now. Other water things, we're doing the urban water management plan. That's getting an update. We're in contract right now. It's $124,900 is the contract. I don't have the exact amount, but we should see that totally billed out by the end of this fiscal year. That is a state mandated report that we have to do. The water master plan also is a state mandated report. We're in contract for $266,400. We've seen billing of $13,295 of that, and we'll probably see the totality of that billing by December of this year. We're hoping to get that master plan done before this end of this calendar year. You know, smaller reports, we have the annual water use report. We're having, because of the additional data that we have to do this year, that was added to that report. We have a consultant doing that. It's a $9,950. And I don't have listed here because there's just a plethora of other state mandated reports.
Derek, is there any decisions around the Cherry Creek tank kind of dependent on the master plan getting completed? And
Yeah, that was the recommendation of the city engineer,
Okay.
was to finish the water master plan and then wait until any housing developments that are gonna happen south of town do their hydraulic studies.
Okay.
Because they're supposed to be putting a tank down there.
And could the results of that plan maybe warrant changing the size of that tank, or?
Definitely couldn't make it bigger. We're maximizing the capacity right now. I met with the chief water operator this morning. And we did go through some scenarios, and we do have the capability of having the Cherry Creek tank. With employing valves and altitude valves, we can backfill zone 3, which they've done on many occasions, where they get a large break in zone 3 and they valve it off and they feed it with that Cherry Creek tank. The pressure goes way down, and some of the houses really high up on the hill won't have water, but the majority of the houses in the flat lip, which is you know, worth by itself right there, just to be able to have the majority of these zones and continue to have water. The need for it is still there.
And this would be a decision that would come in to the full council, that we would discuss what if there's an immediate need to.
Well, so we'll finish out the design contract that we're in contract with, and then we'll come to full council with a updated engineer's estimate, the status of the water system, and if you guys want, and then we'll put it out for bids. We'll have front end documents made and all that stuff. So those front end docs and bid docs should be done as part of this design process. And so when we bring it to council, we'll just be bringing the design and the updated engineer's estimate, and they'll give us the go ahead to start that bidding process.
Yeah, I see the benefits of also kind of waiting to see some of the other projects that might come through, and you know, if that's could change the outcome of this, then certainly will be good to take that all into consideration.
The other major project we have completed is there's kind of two pieces to this project. There's what they call the turnkey program. We did streetlight updates and all that, and I'll kind of touch on that more as we move down to the street repair projects. Well, one major part of that would be the AMI meter project. So we replaced every meter in town. And we were able to get we take the AMI meter project and leverage that with the Division of Drinking Water to acquire a grant to cover the rest of the meters in town. So we got the DWR grant was funds received was $1,646,792.749.25 to pay towards the meters in the AMI meter project, which is part of the Eastern Turnkey project as a whole. And then the city did have a remaining balance of ARPA funds that we for water. There was $278,366 also put towards that AMI meter project from some remaining ARPA fund money. And Kevin, can you explain to you what the
ARPA was, one during COVID, the federal government gave cities, basically grants. And so we did use a portion of that along with the DWR grant to, as sort of a down payment on the water meters and the whole turnkey. The turnkey project was, we were approached by PG&E to do energy audits in all of our facilities. And photovoltaic at the wastewater and water plant. The theory was that the savings was going to pay the debt. So we don't know that yet. I mean, I'm not gonna judge it yet. I mean, because we're doing an audit. The photovoltaic at the wastewater plant's not even turned on yet because of delays with PG&E, and I have verified that.
Solar.
Yeah, and I verified that with others that for whatever reason, these solar panels are not being turned on due to PG&E. You might know about it.
Well, do we have a letter to connect? Is that on file?
Yeah, so they're kind of splitting hairs. There was some certain cases
Who's our service planner? Do we know who that guy is?
service. I think Zach Downing is our service planner. He works for PG&E,
Right.
and he's the one doing our case. It's a major thing of like inspections. There was some date codes on some number plates that didn't match, so they wanted us to reprint those. There was some line drawings that PG&E made that had reference points that weren't accurately labeled for the cross boring. So they want those redone before they switch power.
So is that the contractor's responsibility to update the drawings?
PG&E did all this stuff, so it's their responsibility to rectify it. An enclosure.
So, and that would give them PG&E like some drawdown dates to meet by? We need this information by this weekend of the day, 5 p.m.
Yeah,
Or is it
I mean,
open-ended?
no, I meet with them once a week, and every week it's like, little milestones. Last week we had an inspector come out, and hopefully this week will be the last time we have someone come out. Then we're gonna do the actual integration of they switch everything on, and then we start the service through Centrica where we have the monitoring and all that.
And so the turnkey was HVAC and all city facilities, lighting. The two photovoltaics, one at the water plant, one at the wastewater plant, all the meters. And I think it was a bunch of street lights to LED.
Yeah, a lot of street lights.
So they did what they called an industrial grade audit, where it showed that the savings were quantified in a couple of ways. It was just electrical savings, energy savings, but also the meters. We had a guy walking around for how long, Hector? It took like a week for him to go read the meters. So
More
that was savings
Two
because they're radio read meters.
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
bunch of-
okay. Gotcha.
I think one of the unanticipated things was I think we're selling less water, maybe.
Yes, we're selling about
Because people
17%
are
less
more-
water now.
People are more, which is a good thing ultimately. Although it's I don't know how they factor that in their payment reschedule, but, people are more aware of their water use because they can log on to. It's a water savings project, which cuts into our,
And it helps us with the water because we're able to see a resident's savings because of monitoring. And we're able to like notify residents faster and they can also see when they have a leak when like residents log on and they see they use a gallon a minute between, let's say, 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. They got a leak, right? And so we're seeing a lot of that throughout town where those leaks are getting mitigated.
it's all positive things, so it's just, think we're saving lots of water. It's just-
For maintenance.
That goes in.
And then on the maintenance side of things, they, at least. You have anywhere from 10 to more, probably 10 service requests a week. Where folks are requesting for us to show them how to read the meter. So we do that, of course, show them how to identify leaks and stuff like that, so they're looking, which is good.
So we meet with PG&E once a week to get the photo, the PV system up and.
Yeah.
So within probably a year or year and a half, they did say they would do this audit. To say, hey, you're saving this much, and that savings is for the debt payment.
And that's once everything's all rolling.
We're covered, they said we were gonna be covering it for the first couple of years before everything gets up and running, so that's kind of where we're at now. We're hoping that the savings turn out to be
Yeah.
close to what they anticipated, and we use that to pay down this debt.
Yeah, it was very, the project, you know, as dealing with any of these projects, it was a very straightforward project to begin with, and then once we found out we had to start doing cross mooring. Right, because we couldn't cross any chlorine chemical lines, and then we had, drainage ditches that we couldn't get within a certain close to, so then we had to move the location of the transformer, then we had to. PG&E said that they didn't have a.
That was PG&E's engineer.
Yeah, and they didn't have a green book spec for a 750 anymore, we had to go all the way up to 1,000. Right, and so then we had to get a larger transformer because the one that merited our application. They didn't have a standard for it anymore, or was not gonna have it anymore. And then we had to do some cross mooring and then additional pilings for the load ratings, and then we had some special things we wanted to do for amenities for the bottom of the pond that they're putting in. We wanted to make sure that there's no, wouldn't be any additional penetrations with county, things like that.
Another thing about it was so senior center, library, city hall, police station, Jay's wastewater plant all got new HVACs and lighting, and part of the state legislation is they managed it all for us. And since it was an energy savings project, I guess they didn't have to go to, I don't remember the details, but I remember that they managed all of it. So it got all done at one swoop. And it was pitched that saying, hey, the savings is gonna cover this. And so
They haven't seen it.
No.
Because it's not, all right, can this subcommittee receive updates on the PG&E?
Yeah, the only thing that's not complete or not running currently is just the solar at the wastewater.
that's
We're
the
seeing
big
savings
thing.
from everything else.
That's the big one.
And then, so the one at the water treatment plant's up and running?
Yep.
And regarding the savings gonna cover the cost, was there a sort of any provision or guarantee written in any contracts to?
I don't think there was a guarantee, but they were,
Just gonna show you numbers.
yeah, and they were compelling at the time. I mean, I guess we're not really gonna know for a little bit of time.
Because we did
I mean, if it covers 70%, we still got all that stuff done pretty quickly and efficiently, so.
That's a long-term savings.
And Hector's guy's not walking around reading meters now, so that's.
Yeah, we gained another employee pretty much.
It'll take them 2.5 weeks to read by me,
There's
literally
mistakes.
2.5 weeks, so now it takes 2.5 days.
Yeah, and we had that person, I mean, they would walk up and down every street, I mean, so that's just.
And open the lid, each one of
It's
them.
better customer service too.
Yeah, open the lid,
Log on.
look.
So every month?
Every month.
Okay.
They had to physically open each lid, look at it, and then punch in the numbers, and then close and go to the next one.
Every city did that.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Almost 3 weeks.
No mistakes happen there, right?
The meter reader used to buy a pair of boots every month. Cause he put in, he walked 18, she's 18 miles.
Well,
So saves a lot of time now, they can spend that more on
Yeah,
meter
that's
readers.
just pretty direct.
And then, so with a lot of water projects, you guys will be seeing more, budget numbers and projected projects that we're tooling up to start after this, budget gets agreed upon. So we're gonna, like I said, continue with the South Crest tank. We're looking at the river tank. We have tank adding this year. That's all budgeted stuff. We have, some skater work we're gonna do. We wanna build a chlorine contact tank. It's a big high priority tank at the water treatment plant. So, and you'll see all that tomorrow at the budget meeting, all this summer. So.
And one of the other questions with the water resiliency program assessment list that we have. Was just wondering if this is something that we can prioritize or, kind of put some of these projects in, if that's coming to council.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention, my apologies, I forgot to mention that. Councilman Marquez wanted that, so I mean, you just hit on about more than half of them. I think maybe we can leave it on this one, on this agenda too, if you'd like to do that. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right, the Vanessa's list. A lot of those you just talked about, there's a few you had, right?
Yeah. Because my concern is, in case there's some possible funding coming our way that, we have our list prioritized if there's certain.
Yeah, if there's available funding, yes. In my personal opinion is not to find a project for funding, right? We should probably do the top projects that we need right now, if we find funding on the way, but in the past, sometimes we've found a project for funding, which takes away from other projects.
I mean, I guess with the projects that we have, if there are some that are more top priority, if that funding were to come along, that would already be prioritized for allocation.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek is gonna present to council an update similar to what you just did, and we will include these projects too. I mean, there's.
Yeah. The next council meeting, I think I'm gonna give an all projects update, so.
Something
The
like
status
that.
of every current project.
Not next week, but the one after that.
Yeah.
We're gonna-
We've been doing
this
so.
budget.
Okay, so yeah, water projects, if there is funding, the one key thing about. It has been council's direction in the past, to find as much grant money as possible. Grant money is great. Grant money always comes with a match. We're seeing 50% matches for most grants now, so. In the past, sometimes we have found a project for money. But then 50% of that match takes away from other projects that are ongoing, so then you have two projects that are 50% done.
That was one of my thoughts about, the DD money with streets and then maybe, not committing to a long-term, debt financing is that, in case something comes along, maybe 1 year, we want to divert, the spending on the streets to, if there's a big opportunity for us.
Yeah, we're still seeing very good prices with street work being done. Even we're seeing, crude oil go back up again, it's just not. It's not coming to the streets yet.
So,
That's a good transition to street repair projects.
Wait, is there any more questions on that?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
No, we're good.
okay. Yeah, moving on to D2, street repairs.
Okay, perfect. So street repairs, we're gonna include in street repairs, we're gonna include sidewalks as well. We have a CDBG sidewalk project that CDBG granted us some money to finish the sidewalk. Going through First Street. That is out to formal bid right now. So we should be, I think, May 14th, we're gonna see is the deadline for the bid openings.
Do you guys know where that one is? Along First Street, we talked about
It's
it,
from,
Just right there on the main strip.
just before the underpass.
Oh, yeah, the sidewalk from the
Yeah.
Alexander Hill Park.
Do you know how many linear
That's the-
feet that's gonna? No, I don't.
This way you're not crossing back and forth when you're
Exactly.
going there.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it'll go from,
The bottom block, we.
not Main East, I think, all the way to the freeway.
And there would be folks moving into the apartments prior to this.
It ties into
Yeah,
that
so that's-
road.
That was the reason the council chose that one.
Is it gonna tie right into the beginning or the other side, the eastern
The
side or the western?
eastern side has sidewalk already.
Okay,
Or the
So it's just gonna go right up to that existing sidewalk that's pretty much under the freeway. We're gonna barely get into that Rondo area. pretty much.
That was clear priority with that.
Yeah, cause, the CDBG comes out every year or every other year, and typically it's for, ADA access.
Mhm.
And so we usually bring a list of projects to the council, let them pick. And since the austere department was going in, that was kind of the priority. So people can have
I agree.
a clear path to walk downtown, so that should be done probably pretty quick once they,
Yeah, the construction process should not take that long.
and we're gonna have to go knock on the doors of the neighbors there.
Yep.
Or leave them a note or something, no parking. Well, that, just say, hey, there's.
Yeah,
there's a lot of questions. People are showing up here.
Yeah, we spent some time public
You're
notification.
getting a sidewalk. So that's, and then some other CDBG that going off, we did some stuff at Second Street Park and also, well, we talked about Scouts Cabin. We talked about that.
What are we doing about streetlights down that way also?
Just existing. What
In front of Asti.
Oh, in front of Hockey Road? Yeah, we're leaning on the developer to install streetlights in that fringe.
I know that was the fight, are we running that arm wrestle or?
Such as a defined winning. Defined winning,
Uh,
they're gonna install streetlights, they're gonna install silver car streetlights, I think 4 for their frontage. So,
Yeah, was Kevin saying it was a lead time issue, just a delay?
Yeah, Lord, there's
the one thing, so.
yeah, the contractor is, saying that there's a large lead time, they're actually looking for occupancy very soon. And so, we've let them know that since it wasn't on the original plan, we may have trouble tying these to the occupancy, but we have other ways of making sure they get done, and we're really not looking at granting full occupancy in my department until they can show that they've either purchased or have signed a contract for construction to have these things installed and show us that the lead time, they've been ordered and all.
We have a performance bond too.
Yeah, we do. Farm fund too.
That's the hook that I think we can
Yes.
use.
But it's much better to have them install them.
I mean, okay, so in all fairness, it did not get put into conditions of. This was a long time ago and it was.
no, I know, I remember that.
It was for whatever reason, so we called the developer and just said, can you do it? And
Yeah.
they said, yes, but it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, we've been negotiating.
They didn't stub off power, so these, they're like, I don't know if they're like Cobra heads, but Windsor's using them, they're approved for street.
Yeah, we found a retrofit and a structural design that we like, they're gonna put it on city standard pole.
Are they 20-foot poles?
21.5.
Are they doing photometrics for lumens on the sidewalk? What's the requirement to the
They
city?
did a study for that, as part of the sizing for the panels that they're gonna put up there. So and everything, we just gave them the city standards, they stay within this range.
Are those come with battery backups? 'Cause-
Yes,
So that's our only maintenance on those, just changing batteries.
yeah,
Light bulbs.
hopefully not in our lifetime.
Good deal.
Okay, so, yes, the streetlights, part of the street repairs, we have the CDBG project, sidewalk project. We did the informal plans and went to a bid. Informally for First Street, the section between Boulevard and Main. That's already been awarded, they should be starting it soon.
How many prospective bidders do we have?
We had 3.
And were they
Regi, Howell Engineering, and Precision Excavating, Grading.
Yeah,
We're doing grading and
Who's
excavation.
the apparent low bidder?
Precision,
Precision.
93,222.
No, approved at our last council meeting.
Yep.
Consent.
Yeah, and that's grind and overlay, including fabric,
It's
striping, everything. It's a little bit lower than we anticipated with our projections for the numbers, but our numbers for projection were reconstructed. So it's, right in line, so we're taking advantage, we're gonna do some informal bids for some other kind of fill-in locations. There's a lot of locations where you see in town, like paved a large section of street, but just didn't finish like 100 feet at the end of it.
Yeah.
That's very prevalent here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back and fill in those pieces.
All right, and then are we gonna do any tie-in to this with, the water main break out of Boulevard?
So,
Cause that's part of the street was cantilevered over, right?
um,
I got a lot of the dirt out of it.
well.
Yes and no? kind of.
Yeah, so that part of the boulevard is, we're kind of, that's gonna be part of the striping plan for the next year. In you guys' budget, there's 2 line items that we're putting towards striping, but they're just kind of maintenance items, they're $100,000 each. That section is only gonna get crack sealed and restriped. And that's kind of a short-term fix, paint, stripe, and crack seal for infiltration. The cantilever section, has been totally dug back out. That's why we went out into the center of the street there, so there is no more cantilever, and then they slurried it back.
Oh, okay.
That section slurried back.
Oh, okay,
Alright.
okay.
Yeah, I
And
was on a call, so
We went around,
when did the change happen? It's crazy.
and so we went around. And we ended up having to replace some storm drain and stuff like that, so. That section's gonna get put back, we're gonna have the contractor pave a considerable amount of that. But after that, the paving is done right there, we won't see paving on the boulevard itself there probably till the next budget cycle.
And how much did that affect private?
A little bit of that private driveway, but we're putting it back better than it was before. The sidewalk, public right of way, the storm drain that goes down into there, that's city storm drain, so we do have a utility easement across there. We're definitely leaving it better than when we found it. So. And then, okay, so that being said, the reason you won't see that getting a large amount of pavement put in a grind and repave, we're gonna stripe it, like I said. Because we have a Ghost and Home project that we were granted $700,000 for. That's a traffic calming project. It started as a striping project only. And with some bulb outs and some ADA amenities. Since that application was turned in 2021. And the time the money was granted to us, we had already done significant amount of this work, so. I've gone back to the SCTA, that's the Ghost and Home Fund Granting Agency. And requested a scope change. The scope change involves redoing the traffic signal at the Citrus Fair and the Boulevard. Totally redoing that traffic signal. Updating it, battery backups, much like I did here at First Street intersection. And then we also included a grinding and a 2-inch overlay on the boulevard from Railroad Avenue to Franklin. Originally, they were gonna have the striping ground off and then just the striping put off. We've decided to add some money in with the addition of Major DD kind of giving us that headroom to really put money towards streets projects. It gives me the opportunity to use some of our Major and LSR money. We can start using the lion's share of that, we're not holding on to it to cover maintenance costs. Just kind of do other things, so we have $700,000 in Ghost and Home money, Measure and LSR monies, we're gonna devote $340,000 to that. Local streets funds, that's kind of just the backed up street. Regular fund budget is $100,000. And then we're gonna put $168,000 of Measure DD money. Towards this street project. Council did at my last presentation request that the current Major DD money start being used as soon as possible on streets. So that's we're getting that stuff out the door. That's what's paying First Street. So we'll do a new striping. In a kind of a calming manner. We'll have a single lane going in front of what they call the Times Square. There won't be these 2 lanes that go down to nothing.
Driveways.
That's what it is.
And so we'll grind, repave, and restripe, including any storm drain amenities that need to happen in this tie-in by Citrus Fair Drive. And a new traffic signal updated with pedestrian walk and all that stuff. So that'll be from Railroad to Franklin.
And just a question, there was a mention, talking to a council member from San Anselmo, and they were Down there, they're using AI for their traffic signals to something that, might be a mitigation for the traffic signals on South of Cloverdale. That, that's always kind of helps fluctuate the times and kind of wondering if there's any of the timing or.
I've never, I mean, I've never looked into that. I mean, something we can look into, but the little I've seen with the AI in the traffic signals are heavily dependent on 24-hour surveillance of the intersection.
Yeah.
And so they're using AI to record the intersection 24 hours a day. And it kind of becomes
Does it change the timing based on the time of day or something?
it does, but the server capacity and the connectivity, and I'm not sure if they house that all on site, so I can definitely.
Was that?
look
San
into that.
Anselmo, it's also a
San Jose has a couple places.
issue.
Okay.
That comes into play too, but it's just something that
Sounds like 14th Amendment,
Right now, we have a contractor that comes in on a monthly basis and sometimes, even a couple weeks to check on the time game to make sure everything's in sequence.
Yeah,
so that's one of those things, if just throwing that out there is something that could possibly alleviate studies and that kind of thing, but certainly is a surveillance issue.
Derek, I think you mentioned this at the previous, for DD, what do you think is gonna be, you got First Street and then the one you just described, is there anything else that?
the other sidewalk completion project that's gonna go from Shady Lane to Muscat Creek. We're devoting another 168,000 of measure DD to that. We're gonna fill in that section of Franklin, we're gonna go to informal bid with that section of Franklin. We were gonna start on Jefferson, but we've since got direction to pull Jefferson off the list. And then we're gonna start looking at some of the Tarman houses, track area of. Right now, those. I'll have to bring this up at a full council meeting. Some of those really heavy duty reconstructs. We do have water money budgeted, 185,000 each year. And then wastewater, I think it's 100 each year. For replacement of pipes.
all those pipes are what, 60, 70 years old?
Well, we had Allen Avenue and we couldn't even run a virus bridge plate on the base rock without breaking the pipe underneath.
Is it clay or is it asbestos?
Asbestos.
Yeah.
And so it's very costly to remove. Once you start getting into a full reconstruct, like Rosewood, for example, all the sidewalks need to be replaced. All the street trees need to go because they're.
And that goes back to like earlier with all the trees, right?
Yeah.
All those trees are just pushing up sidewalks, so we can't go in there and say we're cleaning up the streets with the sidewalks and the trees are
No,
still the problem.
if you repave a significant amount of road and you replace the storm drain, the water and the sewer, which in Charmin, there is no storm drain, because it's all sheet flow. If you replace the water and the sewer, yet you leave an unwalkable sidewalk,
Right.
we can't do that, so we would have to redo the sidewalk, right? Everything's gotta be ADA compliant in these larger projects, because we're kind of out of the scope of just small.
So with 88, excuse me, Jared, does Tarman? I'm gonna miss right now, does Tarman have street lights?
Yeah.
Okay, they have.
And we maintain
Yeah, well, not in Tarman though, we don't maintain them in Tarman.
some, like the north end.
So we have the park,
Yes,
streetlights in the park, yeah. Majority of Tarman's the PG&E pole lights.
Do we want to figure out of that? Go to
Is
solar,
that-
why don't we just go solar and, tell
We,
PG&E?
well, I mean, we would have to,
See,
I'm sure residents. Some are gonna like it, some aren't gonna like it.
LEDs or they?
They're just the old school,
Reds.
yeah, co-reds. That are on the poles and the wood pole. Yeah, there are not very many of them.
there's only a few and we can't reach them with our boom truck.
No, and I mean, it's not like PG&E does back charges for those, so they're provided.
I know, but we're paying for it though,
No,
but we don't pay for the electricity to burn street lights.
On the.
just the ones we own, that we don't own those.
Oh, okay.
If they're on a wooden PG&E pole, we don't own. That's their hardwired in like
All the rest of them are ours.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
they're not getting
both.
pedestal or anything.
Yeah.
I don't get more PG&E. That's just seems to be.
Easy answer. The ones over there, like on Village Meadows area, the whole western side of town, those are all ours. Weekly basis, we probably repair 3 or 4.
All of ours have been replaced with LEDs.
Yeah.
And there's one item to tie in down there, I mentioned this to Hector and Kevin, the possibility of a restroom going into Clark Park. And then I think you mentioned there was already outgoing.
Yeah, the sewer main goes
Yeah.
right through Park.
Right in the middle.
I agree, let's put a bathroom down there.
So that's, you might wanna bring that up tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, was it, what, just make sure if there's anything that needed to happen under the street, that sounds like everything was changed.
We're gonna actually be redoing from Clark Avenue, right?
Okay.
So it's that, going into the next streets project. Clark Avenue is at 90%, we're adjusting some storm drains so that. On Clark, it would be from the park. Going north has a sheet flow problem where you get like a foot of water over that curve, so we're gonna be redoing and adding storm drains in that section, because there's no storm drains in it.
In a bathroom there would, it's just gonna be a small restroom, it wouldn't affect any work, change it, let's go. No, okay.
Because the sewer already exists, we would be on the city property, we tap into that.
And that was the big.
I said, what's on, so on.
The amount of use.
Well, the amount that we had to trench over, cut through the concrete, that was a lot of money, I don't remember how much.
You need to bring a water, a domestic water line, but it's not too far.
It would be a much easier situation.
Continuing on the second Go Sonoma project was, like I said, a sidewalk completion project from Shady Lane to Mustang Creek. We got $500,000 from Go Sonoma. We're gonna use $220,000 of Measure M LSR money, that's the local streets and roads funds. $100,000 for our own streets budget and $168,000 of the Measure TD money.
You don't need MTA funding, any of that?
In
Sonoma County MTA,
no.
nothing.
That's the whole bag money.
Yeah, we don't apply for that, we don't,
We haven't gotten any.
well, the ABAG, the OBAG.
It's a lot of strings.
Well, there's a lot of strength, but even if we were to try to get an ABAG or an OBAG monies for those grants. A lot of those grant. Applications, we don't even apply to because our proximity, like we don't have smart train here, the density isn't high enough.
MTC is the Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
It's the big one. It's ABAG, Association of Bay Area Governments. I think you might be thinking of SCTA, which is Sonoma County.
Yeah,
That's the one, yeah.
Okay, so SCTA,
Yeah.
SCTA that's Go Sonoma, right?
Oh,
But that
okay.
Major kind of turned into Go Sonoma. Go Sonoma with the funds that we have in these two, what I call the Go Sonoma project. Those are what they call the competitive funds. So they have a certain amount of entitlement funds, I guess you would say, based on it's a
Population.
the population and the road miles and things like that you have in town. Then that sets the standard of money you're issued.
What's the population threshold? For less money versus more money, is it 19,999?
Oh, as it goes up, the number goes up. It's like an algorithm. They
Oh, okay.
put the numbers into.
And we do get SCTA. Okay, that's our local. But
Yeah.
Good.
MTC, that's a whole different ballgame.
Mhm.
So when the, so Go Sonoma, that's tied to like the transit, right?
No, Go Sonoma, the Go Sonoma, there used to be what they call LSR, local streets and roads measure and money. That was just the money that we got each year because we have so many citizens and so many road miles. Get that money, you had to do what they call maintenance of effort, right? We had to show that we were spending out of our own pockets, at least the amount of money we were asking for
Yeah.
as an entitlement.
Well, what?
Oh. I thought you were somebody who's asking.
We're gonna do it.
And so the Go Sonoma was what that is now. It's kind of taking over for that, it's called Go Sonoma. But along with what they used to have competitive grants for Measure M, they have competitive grants for Go Sonoma. That would be a different pot of money, the same kind of title, But we send an application, say we are wanting grant money to do this. And in the competitive fund grants, they have different rankings, so as long as the impact aligns with what they're looking for, then you
Get
get
it, okay, got it.
yeah, but it's not an automatic, we get it, they're competitive, so. We got these two because Cloverdale hadn't got a competitive grant in quite some time.
So we do have the measure on signs. And so
Yeah.
we'll make sure that all the jobs.
With major DD signs. And major.
I'm a DD, sorry.
So part of the major in the funds,
We approved those signs, right?
yes, you did, we had signs, metal signs, made multiple different types.
Okay.
So like part of the Ghost and Element and the major end funds, part of that agreement that we signed is will provide every year when I do my yearly reporting, I have to show a construction project with those signs out during construction.
But we're doing our own local ones.
Yes, but we're doing local ones. So I'm treating DD like it, like a major M or a Ghost and Element, like we're just gonna take all of those advertising boxes, all the. You know, the data collection and all that, and we're gonna try to provide that to the city council. Kind of like we provide the SCTA with our quarterly or our yearly annual reports. That will really help when the citizens advisory committees that we're calling it, the oversight committee. When the oversight committee comes to look at everything, we're hoping what they're gonna see is they're gonna see an annual report and 4 quarterly reports.
And then all the
They'll be
citizens
able
who
to
are.
really understand
The oversight.
what we've done with the money.
Absolutely.
So that's how we're taking care of that.
So big picture, there's gonna be some road projects this summer. As your ED, some of the Ghost and Elma, so you'll start seeing the things. First Street would be probably the first one.
First year's gonna start in the next couple of weeks.
We gotta talk to those businesses.
Yeah, we're doing outreach, our engineering techs.
How long is that project expected to run?
They say 6 days, so. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, the little section of street, I mean, they're gonna take the iron out, they're gonna grind it off. They're gonna fabricate, asphalt it, pull the iron back up, and it should be. pretty
That's
quick.
great, so they're not doing slurry, Derek?
No, grind and repaint, we're not, slip, we're kind
The
of.
reason I'm asking is, my experience in Santa Rosa with slurry, it wasn't that good when I lived there back in the day.
Yeah, we're not gonna be using, I don't think any of the rubber coated additive slurry, but regular.
Right.
Old school style and slurry.
And not to add cost, are we doing green bike lanes for the pavement for the striping back? Is that part of the striping package for the?
Not for that section,
Not
no.
for that section.
No,
So that included?
the striping package is included, the pedestrian, the box dots and all that good stuff. With the bull dots, it doesn't, we don't have, we're not gonna do dedicated double water green like that, we're just gonna put existing, the parking.
That's First Street, you can't get a bike lane down there, you can barely get 2 cars next to each other. Trust me.
But on the boulevard, we are going with the package that we submitted. It includes, a center median, narrow turning lanes, bike lanes, which like you
Is
see
there additional parking in front of Citrus Fair, do you remember, or?
in front on the boulevard.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's parking there.
it's gonna stay the same.
Yeah.
Do we receive any funding from the Bicycle Coalition? Stone County for any of the areas that we're doing, bike striping?
I don't think so. The Bike Coalition, I did a presentation for the community, the Citizens Advisory Board, 2 Monday nights ago. The Bike Coalition was there. Their class 1. They're giving a lot of money for class 1 bike lanes, protected bike lanes. And I think they call them bike path or, bike trails. That's kind of really their forefront. We're just doing traditional class 2 bike lanes in our designs because of,
Nothing qualifies for.
not
for
that.
Okay.
We should look into the legal cities.
Legal cities.
For that.
I'm wondering out for any of these bike lanes, if is anybody doing any funding north of Thielsburg, and if not, then they're.
Well, one thing, funding is always good, but every funding organization also has a list of, checkboxes, and we have found in certain other projects where we have multiple funding organizations, the requirements to receive the fundings, one negates the other. One is for like, you have to have vehicle protected bike lanes, and the other one says you have to have integrated bike lanes that come out into the traffic in the intersection, and it's hard to do those both.
Okay.
So,
Is that all we got for, street repairs?
that's all we currently have going on. I can give you a current balance as of April 2026 for Measure D needs, $1,032,843.55. What we've collected so far, we still have 1 quarter to collect. And we won't see that, we won't have an accurate depiction of that total number probably until August.
Is that 3/4 or 4/4?
That's 3/4.
3/4, let's do.
And that final quarter is the, is it during the Christmas time is generally that's?
Yeah, December 25 was 60,000.
That's good.
January was 64, and then February, we saw that kind of true up payment, and I was 177,000.
We did begin right before Christmas.
Yeah, we started in May of 25 with the collection,
Okay.
and so we only saw a little bit.
So we have anything like 3 years.
Is there any questions on item D2 street repairs?
No, if I could, Mr. Chairman, so I had been told the meeting would start at 2, and in fact, my sheet says 2 o'clock. I was wondering if I could, when you think it's appropriate, I could talk a little bit about the water projects, since
Yeah.
Another thing, Rob, is we're having a budget retreat tomorrow
Mhm.
at the firehouse. I don't know if you have time, but
yeah, I was planning for that, but I just had a.
Okay, well, yes,
plans
I
that-
agree with you, there might have been some confusion there, and this was.
Yeah, the
special meeting.
city website says 2 o'clock.
Yeah, it's say 2 and,
Yeah, I got notified, I was on another conference call, and I got notified at 1:02 that it was
I
starting
would
at 1.
concur, I requested the meeting be pushed to 1, I had a 3 o'clock meeting.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Then I saw it was 1 PM and I didn't have time to change or shower, so.
No, I can relate to schedules, yeah. No, I just, the one comment I wanted to make is there was, something just posted, I'm not sure if you saw it, from the, engineering firm, West Jost.
I haven't.
Yeah, it was just like literally posted while I was on my conference call, so I quickly pulled it and.
That was
they-
a letter.
There's a letter regarding the recommendation to defer the South Crest Reservoir, the Cherry Creek tank.
Yeah.
Design pending some kind of master plan. Now, my concern about that team is that Yost must be like a football team as I look at it, because I feel like they're punting. And why I say that is it's reminiscent of more studies, more tests. My house, as a number of my neighbors are, happens to back on where that lot is. And so every 6 months, there's someone out there doing surveying, measurements, testing. They even have these big seismic things that are boom, 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 checking out the site, I guess, for the replacement tank. So anyways, more tests, more proposals, more delays. They told the city, back on February 12th, 2024, when David Kelly was the city manager, that, this is what we need to do. That was 2 years and 3 months ago. What is going on would be my concern. It's almost like we're ignoring the end of life status of that tank, which was 2017. It was built in 67, 50 years was designated end of life in 2017. So my question is, has West Yost ever actually seen the tank? If you look at it today, it's literally rusting and there's pitfalls on the coating. So I'd love you to eyeball this at your leisure. That's a current image, it's rusting away, it's end of life. And that was, I think, one of the comments I had at the last meeting, about why aren't we focused on these water projects? And if you look at the 5-year rate increase, that was granted to the citizens after it was delayed 6 months due to a protest, it shows that the Cherry Creek tank should have been done in 22, 23. Ritter should have been redone in 24. Wells, there's a whole list of things that weren't done, even though we were paying 12% annually increase on the water. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, and I'll have more to talk about tomorrow, but I wanted to get across my concern about West Yost. And I'm not sure why we keep paying for the same studies over and over. So it's like, we got a new city manager, so now we need another study. We got a new public works director, it used to be a Mark Rincon, so we need a new study. That's the appearance I have, as do all the people that worked on the no rate increases back in 2020, 2021. That was deferred 6 months, and then the rate increases, instead of going up 17% annually, went up 12% annually.
Were these questions addressed at our admin subcommittee?
No, your colleagues on the council shared their frustration, and they wanted, and I'm not sure why Yost did this now, because I think the two members in the city council, correct me if I'm wrong, said, get on with the tank, let's get that one going, because it's end of life. I'm not sure, I sent you a note, Derek, about Title 22, do we meet? I sent you a note about the lead-based paint, it's chipping away and rusting.
I
Is that-
did
is
respond
that
to
a health
that.
hazard?
Yeah, no, it's not a health hazard.
Okay.
And then the Title 22, I do have an email I was gonna send you out.
What is that?
Title 22 governs, the drinking water quality. It doesn't actually govern infrastructure, storage, piping, or anything like that. It's quality over. And so we heavily lean on our EAR annual water report, and consumer confidence report. We put all of our sampling data out and all that stuff. The Cherry Creek tank, any coatings that may be on the outside of the tank or anything like that, really, we haven't seen any concern for that. We have looked into it. I just haven't had time to,
Well, no, we were just highlighting that one, that's been identified by consultants that those are concerns and issues.
Mhm.
And two, if you look at the image, before the rate increase, the tank was pretty much pristine, and now it's rusting and all that stuff, right?
yeah, and like I had mentioned earlier in this meeting, we are, I just made them aware of the memo from the city engineer, but my department, myself and my staff are still moving towards completing the design of the tank and moving forward to replacement, but as per requested by the council with the two tanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was just shocked when I saw that. I'm on a conference call and this thing pops up.
Yeah.
I was trying to multitask and
I mean, it is,
let's do it, but don't do it. That's,
But for clarification, to bring back, was West Yost thought to delay this was the prospective development that they might add a tank, and so that was one of the reasons they might have wanted to push this off. And if everything did go through and there was developments in another tank put in, that tank would be put in for quite some time.
50 years, like this one.
if the future developed, yeah, it would be quite some time. It would be quite some time before the tank was built and totally put online. And even then, we're still not sure if that tank would meet the auxiliary tie-in requirements like backfeeding zone 1 or zone 3 because of its locations.
So talking about Alexander Valley Resort tank, right?
Yes.
And then if the proposed tank at Cherry Creek is the maximum for that location, there's besides a proposed development putting a tank, would there be any reason to not go forth with that?
Not go forth with the Cherry Creek?
Yeah, or any reason to delay or wait till the master plan was completed? Would that have any effect, do you think?
We've been working on a master plan, and the master plan is gonna be fairly close to what it is now with some additional things. We still see the need operationally for that Cherry Creek to go in. Because with some of the things that you're gonna see in the budget meeting, we're trying to eventually redo Cherry Creek, I'm sorry, School Street Pumping Station. We currently have a manual set of valves because we don't have SCADA integration to run altitude valve monitoring. And so we're gonna be integrating those. Zone 3 over by the end of Foothill by Baumgartner does have an altitude valve. So if zone 3 just goes down, we get a massive main break and it just goes to 0. That altitude valve kicks in and we'll just start feeding. That buoyancy of that tank will just take up. Like I said earlier, it'll feed into that zone 3 at a much lower pressure. But we will still be feeding water to customers, right? And so we're hoping with those altitude valves, as the pressure on one side drops, then this one takes over we don't see any zero pressure instances, so we don't break sanitation in hundreds of homes if something happens. Which is, it would be very,
Yeah, because we had the truck back into a fire hydrant and then we lost all water pressure for a couple hours. So that's because it was required manual fix versus
Yeah.
automatic.
yeah,
So you had situations where we lose water.
And if we're not waiting on this prospective giant tank that's gonna solve our problem, there's really no reason to delay or wait until the.
yeah,
Well, the frustration on, just as one of the residents, Cherry Creek Reservoir is one of them, is we were told master plans were done and Cherry Creek Reservoir was to be completed in 2022 for 1.27 million. And that's what Mark Rincon and David Kelly told us as part of the justification for the rate increases back in 2020, 2021. A new well to ensure supply, I think that's coming along, 1.43 million was supposed to have been done in 2023. The Ritter Reservoir, it's 38 years in rusting, 2024, 1.587 million backup chlorine tanks. Like we talk about this tomorrow, but that's the frustration of a lot of folks like myself on the no rating increase can be back then. Yeah, so that was posted, I think, as a public comment at the last, what was it was now called administration, I think, meeting.
Yeah, administration.
So, yeah. So I really encourage you, no more studies, no more thinking about it. Let's get some stuff done.
And we'll hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah.
We are working on an update on all the projects. I mean, I
Yeah,
know you're frustrated, Rob, there
Well,
is.
it's not just, so.
No, no, I get, no, and I totally get it, I'm not disagreeing, I mean, but we have done something, so we're gonna try to demonstrate what those.
Then it's communication and transparency.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Derek's working on that, it's gonna be in the console.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on item E2 street repairs? Yep, seeing none, we'll move on to item D3 street maintenance ongoing.
so
I can touch on a little bit on that. I showed you guys a picture earlier, an image earlier today on the measuring for streets. So from the maintenance perspective, we've been doing a lot of striping. Street striping, we've been doing some thermal for STOPs for signs, stop signs. We've been obviously fixing a lot of pothole depressions, painting red curb, painting fire hydrants, and of course, water repairs, water main leak repairs. We've had, on an average, we have anywhere from 1 to 2 every couple of weeks of water service leaks.
What's going on with the big one, Hector?
Derek was more involved than me in that, but it sounds like they're getting it done pretty quick.
yeah, they're replacing the storm drain right now. What happened was the cast iron water main broke in about 3 spots. I think it's from settling. We had a PG&E transmission gas main going down, used to be Highway 101. Within a really close proximity to our pipe, which made it very hard. And also where one of these breaks is underneath the concrete storm drain, which was within about 5 feet of a high voltage bunker for PG&E, and this water main ran underneath all of them. So, we felt it best to not try to. PG&E didn't want us to do it either. Weave a pipe underneath all this. It was just gonna take so much time and so costly that we decided to abandon that section. We concrete filled it and we just went around. When we went around, we found the remnants of, an old culvert, partial piece of a concrete bridge that was there. So we had to hammer that out, saw cut it, pull all that out. It is costly, but we're doing what we said we were gonna do. We're gonna fix things right the first time. So we,
Is this over by Franklin? There, that one?
yeah. And then, and so they got the pipe in, they back slurried all the PG&E stuff where we abandoned our old pipe, that totally got slurried up. And then we're, sanding and graveling our new pipe in, and we're gonna slurry the top piece of it. That way PG&E is happy with their cross connections and all that. And we're bringing it in, we're gonna run one new service. This whole time, we haven't had any customers out of water because of looping in the mains and the ability to valve certain sections off the peak from different locations. So it is pivotal. I mean, 2 weeks of working on a mainline that goes across the boulevard and 0 customers out. That's why we have systems that loop like that.
And can I ask you, those systems with the looping systems, when did those get put in?
It just, as things were built and as things are repaired, that, you know, we continue to make sure there's loops and systems done. And I'm sure this system was put in when they redid no, I think when they redid this storage unit in on Industrial Drive.
So is the backfill all slurry?
No. So we don't slurry the whole pipe, we sand it, chip it on top, and then they're gonna slurry 2 feet. Because the gas main is still there,
Okay.
and so we gotta put slurry on that. So we were able to go quite a ways underneath it with the new location, but we do have to slurry that section where the gas main is, and then there's a high voltage set of conduits that PG&E wants slurry too.
And speaking of PG&E, so did we put it back to Green Book standards?
Yeah, they've been out there the whole time.
There every day.
Just watching this.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff in that little area.
It
It's
is.
crazy.
It is.
Except for sanitary sewer.
Yeah, no sewer in that section.
It's a win.
Hmm.
That would be a great example of communication and transparency. Tell them what happened, what you're doing, you did it in record time, and start promoting what you guys are doing.
No, we had already, remedies in place that, nobody was out of water for that time.
Yeah,
That's really good.
yeah, that's where like,
We should do a report on that. It's a good.
yeah, it'll be part of my project, or it'll project.
I can put it there.
We did that.
Yeah, good. We also helped the streets department out with some of the maintenance.
Yeah, our streets department, had staff there with our Vector truck.
Yeah.
Help them side by side.
Yeah.
So back to the street maintenance, we've been, another project that we've been doing is during the summertime, the schools out of session. Just coming up here, we call it Safer House to School. I know that's a name for another grant. So funding. We call it Safer House to School, to where we evaluate the downtown area, and we do it every single year. Do a lot of striping. We cut all the vegetation back away from sidewalks and encroaching vegetation. We do, parking downtown. We stripe downtown. We stripe all the IDA parking. We do a lot of thermal. We replace street signs. We had sorry, I can't even say that. I had our staff when we went around, and not just the Tarman track area, but all through the city. We
They're all
replaced,
whitewashed.
yeah, street signs. So far we have, the last 3 weeks or so, we've replaced 50 of them, 50 signs.
There's some of the vintage street signs that kind of have a nice character.
We have some.
So,
Black.
Do
The white ones.
throw a kind of maybe have a concern that maybe if they're even a little rusty, if they want to keep those?
Yeah, we have those in stock. We have them, we've been removing them and putting them in the yard.
Okay.
They don't make them like they used to be. Some of those are still, they're still really good.
Do
They
you
just,
think that was accurate?
what's that?
Do we make the signs? or-
No, we
order.
ordered them through, just with specifications of these, the new ones that we're ordering have a reflector, so when your reflection on it, so when your street lights, when the car lights hit them, they illuminate. It's a lot better, so in some cases, we've been replacing the posts, the poles as well.
Is there any talk of painting all the curbs within a sidewalk 20 feet in red?
We've been doing that. So we started that project, we did it all through the schools. All around the school, we did it last summer, and we're doing it again this year.
Are you talking about
20 feet.
AB 413?
Well, that new
Yeah.
law that came out, you can't park
Yeah.
20 feet across.
Yeah.
20 feet of crosswalk also applies for intersections. Whether it's a marked crosswalk or not.
So there's a lot of
We-
violations of that
Yeah, we're
law
kind
in
of
town, so.
putting it in the more of the higher profile locations first. I know that previously,
And I guess, not to interrupt you, but transparency, we should throw that out there why we're doing it.
Right.
Because
yeah, we had a barricade made, and there's a couple of residential spots that have crosswalks, like at the corner of First Street and Jefferson, First Street and Washington, that we put that sign up saying, hey, with this is AB 413, this is what we're
I
gonna
haven't seen that, but I know there's been some infractions written and come to my attention that, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of we're, like I said, we're more of the high profile spots we're doing. We really didn't want to start implementing this heavily in residential areas. But if, you know, it's really recommended by council. We'd much rather.
Everything has to be involved anyway, right?
Well, so it's enforceable whether it's there or not. That's what.
Right,
That's what
yeah.
AB
I know,
four,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
what AB 413 said, even if there's not a red curb, you can still get enforcement on. And so we just,
People are gonna lose some money.
people are not gonna be
That's-
happy when you go to every resident and every person who lives on a corner can't park in front of their house
Is-
anymore.
Is there a grace period allowed?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
Cause it was out for,
Lawmakers.
yeah, it was out for about 1.5 years,
Yeah.
and it was a warning. And then I think January of 25, it became fully enforceable.
When did we start doing work on getting curbs ready? Is that also this year?
So we've been doing the tax measure, when we using our tax measure, and then I think some of the stuff like for the thermal stuff, and we might have used the measure UV,
He's asking about the red curbs.
all the red curves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been using that tax fund in general.
And so even with with this law being put in effect, there was no funding to.
Oh, no, they,
No.
but they don't pay for it.
We started doing it last summer in all the school districts, crosswalks. So we're doing that.
Doing it by the Citrus Fair.
Yeah, and the Citrus Fair, the school district, they've been really thankful.
Yeah.
That we've been doing that, because now the crosswalk folks, you know, they can actually, when the kid is trying to get across to go to school. You know, sometimes having cars parked there creates yeah.
You know, they're already raising concerns
Yeah.
about that, so at least
And we'll go out there again this year and we'll refresh all that downtown, like the image that I showed earlier. Always good to stay on top of it.
Thank you.
And then just a lot of for street maintenance, the street lights, not the ones on Harmon, but all the other street lights that are not on loopholes, the city owns, so we've been replacing. As we get service requests, we've been replacing them with LEDs. So they're brighter and they last a lot longer, pretty much the whole west side of town. And that's an ongoing street, just a weekly, like I mentioned earlier today, we repair roughly about three to four, sometimes even more.
that's your retrofit bulb.
Yeah, it's just a retrofit bulb that's an LED now.
Okay.
And so when we buy them, and then those photo cells on top go bad for the most part. So we've a couple hundred of those, but and the light bulbs are just.
So you keep the cherry picker busy.
Yeah, yeah, our boom truck just, barely gets up there, but we do it. So that's just an ongoing maintenance.
Any other questions or comments for item D3, street maintenance? Seeing none, moving on to D4, Soda Springs Ranch Open Space.
So, the Springs Radio, we're making a lot of progress out there. I mentioned it a little bit earlier in last city council meeting. So just to give you some of the stuff that we completed already. So the ADA parking space has been completed. The contract was awarded to Anderson Excavating at the time, and he completed the concrete. We rebuilt the driveway, we replaced the culvert. So the driveway is now, it's now repaired, and one of the reasons why we wanted to repair it is because it didn't meet the standards for like fire department trucks to drive through there.
Okay.
So now we got that down, so that's been completed. All the vegetation management effort has been completed. Did the whole east side of town, east side of the park that borders the residents there, with an effort to create a fire break between the park and residents. And if there's ever knock on wood, there's ever a fire, we're able to fight it there before it comes into town. These efforts were all implemented by, I got a lot of help from the fire chief here in Cloverdale, Chief Jenkins, Chief Glasgow Fire, Cal Fire, Marshall Tourville. So we met every year. We meet out there before we come up with the target area that we want to target, and strategically planned by them. And then they kind of just give us their expertise, so they can tell us the way a fire travels if there's ever a fire. So that was completed. If you guys have that Nixle alert, you probably got that Nixle alert where we send it out to the community.
With, fried birds.
Yeah, so we had that for, it's on the next item, but for Soda Spring Branch and Porterville Creek. Also the picnic area sites have been completed at the Soda Spring Ranch. There's some vegetation that we gotta do, vegetation management, but the pads are actually already in. The picnic tables are in. So that phase of it is completed. We have a tentative grand opening date for June 6th.
And that's, Saturday?
That's Saturday, June 6th. Yeah, originally we were planning on doing it the week before that. So Memorial Day weekend, so we moved it up
That's
a
good.
week.
Would there be a tentative time?
We're probably
10.
10, I think we figured 10.
10 a.m.?
Oh, if you have suggestions.
Yeah.
Please lay them on us, because.
My thought is about it for that day that we would be inviting people from around the
Everybody.
county to come, so maybe
Yeah.
just give them some time to drive up here and,
Yeah,
maybe have a little breakfast or something.
that'd be great. Yeah, we were thinking about sending out the flyer this week.
Yeah, 10's pretty good, or,
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe say 10, but then it kicks off at 10:30.
Yeah.
Just to start
at
getting.
least, okay.
We'll have our usual coffee and.
Yeah, so we're planning to have some light refreshments, some coffee. We did purchase more picnic tables for that entrance to the main picnic site. Is designated for folks with mobility issues.
Yeah.
But for some reason they can't hike.
Yeah.
They can just hang out there and read a book or.
Yeah.
Or, so we're gonna have the grand opening ceremony. We have the trail builders are now working on the trails.
Ken gonna be there?
Yeah, Ken will be there. So no,
You know this guy, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Trail builder guy.
Gotta go
Is
see
he
the
volunteer? Does he do Dell?
Oh, he has a company. Yeah, he does.
He did that web too. So we'll invite the Sonoma County Ag and Open Space Department, the county supervisor, all the folks that are involved with the acquisition of the land.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we just probably should nail down the date so we can
Yeah.
start getting people advance.
June 6th is highly likely it's not gonna rain.
Yeah,
Just do it that day.
And then-
You know, got a little stuff to do
Yeah.
afterwards.
now we're planning on doing like whoever wants to stay, like a hike, like a short hike. After we do introductions, just kind of showcase the park. And then that's for that day. We're still working right now on putting a few fire gates for maintenance access. Trail markers, that's what's going on this week, we're putting those up this week.
Maybe we can get like a big printout of the maps or something.
Yes.
To have their.
Yeah, so we have, so we're thinking for that day, we touched on it a while back, we're gonna pass out to the community. Trail maps for everybody, and then we a couple flyers of. The type of critters that hang out in the park, just so we be aware of it, and just make sure that we are out in the plant species and trees. So we'll have a little flyer of that attached with the map. We do have a lot of wildlife up there.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's kind of cool to see like, okay, what they like to do, their habitat and all that, so we don't disturb it. So it's gonna be big. I think, we're pretty close. The ADA parking lot was the biggest challenge.
Yeah, it sounds like a good kickoff and, some integration with the health and educational partners and invite those folks down would be wonderful.
Absolutely.
Is it all natural habitat or is there any invasive species up there?
There's some
French
broom, that's what we're working on last week. So that French broom, there's some stuff that all you can do is, you can never 100% eradicate any, you can just suppress it back.
Is that yellow flower?
But, yeah,
Okay, the green, and they're,
yeah,
Lots of stuff that's a real fire hazard.
Yeah.
So you want to.
Is it burn?
we've been
Oh, it's.
cutting it, burning it.
Well, I mean, you got a fire from the. I was gonna ask you on the picnic tables, is it the big 8 or 10 foot ones you're getting?
Yes, the big
And
ones.
the last meeting, one of the council, the lady
I
asked
heard.
her, is it all metal or wood?
So there would, this plan for the picnic tables was made way
Oh, yeah,
before,
yeah.
a long time ago, even before I had, before any of us here in this table had anything to say. But one of the things I was talking to Kevin about this morning, I found these tick repellent that you could spray on the picnic tables.
So make that as part of your maintenance. or something?
Yes, you just spray, but it says it'll last for every 6 months or so, which it wouldn't take that long.
Right.
We can just get our utility vehicle and spray them.
Right.
So we're gonna do that as part of regular maintenance, not only that, we're gonna seal them from the weather, but we're also gonna spray that tick repellent.
Yeah, what's the cost of all of them? I'm just curious for one of those picnic tables.
Well, there's different types of picnic tables. The ones that we purchased for like the grand opening and for this little area that we're talking about are like $500 each.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the ones, the big ones that are 8 foot,
The permanent ones.
the permanent are like 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Those are roughly about $1,500 to $2,000.
Yeah.
It was included on the contract for the Redwood Trail Alliance.
Right.
They're very well made. Everybody uses them in the county.
Yeah, just so you know, Rob, because Sonoma County Open Space purchased it, they also give us money.
Right.
To get it fixed up and for maintenance for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
They give us.
That's great.
Yeah, that's good.
That sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, but that, as soon as when, that resident brought that concern about the site, after the meeting, I went online right away, and got to fight him. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll just have it as part of the green maintenance.
Is there any more questions or comments for item D4, Soda Springs Ranch Open Space?
Only comment is if it's like the maps and stuff, that was the Armstrong Forest, we love going there, this is like, go here instead with the family, right?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Once you
Yeah.
open it.
Yeah.
And there's Leaving Earth is the outdoor education for Jefferson School, and they've met with Hector and are now gonna be transferring their outdoor education from Hillsburg to Cloverdale. Yeah.
Wow, that's great, good job,
Yeah.
great, that's fantastic.
Moving on to D5, Parks Vegetation Management.
So I touched on that a little bit. We completed the vegetation management effort there at Soda Springs Ranch. We also did the same effort at Porterfield Creek Open Space. Again, I met with both fire chiefs there to come up with the best strategy for our money. And this efforts were paid. The one at Soda Springs Ranch was paid by their funding that we got when we acquired the park. And then the one at Porterfield Creek is the funding is coming from measuring for parks. So all these efforts are not impacting the general fund, that's what I always try to get. So that's all good stuff. The fire chief, and both fire chiefs and their staff is all volunteer work. They volunteer their work to come out and help us burn and stuff like that. So that's really says a lot about our community here. Every time I ask for help, they always go and help us out. And one of the reasons why they want to help us is because they use those parks for trainings. So they can use for future trainings if there's ever a fire, what to do.
Okay.
And which is actually a really big benefit for Cloverdale, because if there's ever a fire, not only there's never a fire, they know the area, they know all the trails, everybody. So they use it to do drills.
So that kind of leads into, using our local folks to do this kind of work.
Yeah.
The Sonoma County Regional Park staff had mentioned that they can send a couple people up here.
Yeah.
But I guess, would there be too many cooks in the kitchen?
No, the more help, the better. Every time we do those we do those prescribed burns, we send out an Nextwell alert, we send out all the information through all these various social media platforms. And the more people, the better.
Are those guys like fire trainings or?
Yeah,
those
so
guys and gals, yeah.
The Northern Sonoma County Fire Fuel School, they're the ones that get paid the money, that they're actually on their way to become firefighters, which we take advantage of because you get a way better deal than if you were to go get somebody to hire to help you.
And the regional parks mentioned, because because these are our parks and not the regional parks, but they can help us by loaning us a couple of their fire personnel.
Oh, that's great.
Way that we can
Yeah.
get a little help.
But all that stuff is great help to us. That's every time there's a fire, every time there's an effort like that, I'm not afraid to reach out there. That's for help, but the worst thing they can say is no.
Yeah.
Is there a plan for the river park?
So we do, so right now,
Half county too.
Yeah.
so we have a contract with the county to do some vegetation management down on their side and our side. We mowed and cut the grass twice this year because all the different weather patterns unusual that we've been having. The county regional parks have implemented their goat grazing program. They're out there now. And they're on their side, on that open field from the McCray side.
Can you get a picture of them?
Sure. So they have about 600 goats, hungry goats and sheep. They're a mixture between goats and sheep. And they've only been there 2 days and they ate the whole thing. So
The fence officer.
they fence it off.
Okay.
So they're gonna be done, I think, tomorrow, and we have a contract with them too.
Yeah.
So what they're gonna do is once they're done with the county side, they're just gonna get them across a little bridge and do our side.
Does somebody stay there with?
Yeah,
So
there's
somebody
a
shepherd
shepherd.
himself.
there's a guy,
It's a big business being a shepherd.
because in the past, I don't know if you guys are on the paper, but there's homeless, not here, Florida. But there's people taking the goats and stealing them and eating them.
Okay.
Do they close it out?
They eat everything, they close it out, they eat blackberries, they eat everything, so the plan. The plan is for us to get them on our side, which is a very critical project because it's so close to our water plant. It's literally feet away, so we'll get all the 600 animals on our side. This is probably gonna happen within the next couple of days. And the trail will remain open, which is great because a lot of kids walk down the trail and a lot of, they like to see the goats.
Yeah, the county side, the asphalt on the county side, that's all tore up.
I got an email, they're gonna repair it.
They're gonna repair that.
Yeah,
There's a
I brought it up.
It's horrible.
I brought it up to their attention several times, and finally now they said that we'd get it on this summer. So they're gonna get that done. They're also gonna work on the boat ramp. And they're gonna work on a couple other projects on their side.
Does the boat ramp need help?
It does need a little bit,
Because
Yes, the-
insurance and
kayaks and stuff, you can launch your kayak down up there, but with every winter they go in there. And the water damage, the river coming out. So that's the report that, we also have the 7 Illinois districts that we've been mowing, I have a crew out there right now, cutting the grass down. And this effort continues on all the city lots, I have one staff member right now at the airport on the whole entire, how many acres, it's a lot of acres at the airport.
Okay.
And then all the open lots, all the city lots, 7 Illinois districts, all the parks. It's gonna be going on all this week.
And is there, spoke with Jessica, she comes to her council meetings, but she was mentioning about some of the grass at the airport and, if that was, but that's something we do take care of.
Yeah, we do, and they're doing it now.
Okay.
And it's normally, so there's so many acres, it's a little bit slower when you're mowing, it's a little bit slower because the planes, right?
Okay.
So you gotta let folks know that you gotta have a huge flag so when you're mowing, you don't.
Is there any difficulty with equipment or if we had different, just kind of?
It's just time.
It's just time.
Okay,
Normally it takes about a week to mow the whole.
okay, wow,
And that's just to mow all the runways and all that around the buildings there.
that's a lot of work, yeah.
So they'll be done, I'm hoping that if it doesn't get done this week, early next week, it'll be done.
And how often does that need to occur?
Usually about twice per summer.
3 times sometimes, 2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times a year?
So right now, this is the second time we've gone down there.
now it's raining again.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So this is the second time we've been mowing and we're probably gonna go back and do it.
Especially if it keeps raining.
I know, it's like we mow and then it gets raining and it gets to 80 degrees. I'm like, dang it.
Hector, in the past, there's been some enforcement on personal lots where the grass gets 4 or 5 feet high.
Yeah.
Is that has the residents been aware and it's less nowadays than it was a few years ago, or?
It varies, honestly. The fire department heads that up.
Oh, okay.
So they go around, they identify the tall grass, they give them a letter.
Right.
And then the ones that haven't completed by a certain time, it goes to council. And the council then gives them authorization to take it to the next level. Usually when you get a letter from the fire department, they get it done pretty quick. So that does happen every spring. I talked to Chief, he's flipping on it,
That there has been less,
That's what I thought.
there has been
It
less.
used to be quite vocal at some of the council meetings. And
Yeah. And I think it's especially our community here, just like we're transparency, like trying to keep out the information out there, definitely does help.
But we probably get phone calls coming into City Hall.
Yeah,
And then we just route them over to the fire department.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why we try.
And they drive around.
Okay.
They
So
have
they actually have active
Yeah, and that's why we
driving enforcers.
try to get our stuff all done way before that, but we don't want to be on that list. So, that's pretty much it with vegetation management.
Any questions or comments? Okay, moving on to item D6, city facilities, city park scout cabin, and 113 Broad Street building.
So, I can start, you can fill in the blanks if you don't mind. The scouts cabin there's some good progress on that. Just to remind you, we've gotten 333,000 from the county in a grant. And the stipulation with that grant is that there's a District 4 office constructed, and so that we have that on the floor plan, exterior entrance. And then the other one was one of those CDBGs that Derek was talking about before, and that's has to do with making the building ADA. So those together are how much over 580. 580.
Okay.
So we have an architect working on it. She's pretty close. It's probably gonna go to bid in the next couple months. I don't.
Yeah,
Anything, nothing.
I don't know if you're formal bidding that.
What's that?
Are they doing the front end specs on that?
The what?
Or is Ingrid doing the front end specs on that for the formal bid, or are we gonna do that?
she do, it's part of their contract.
Yeah.
So they're,
We amended the contract.
Okay.
yeah, so they're doing the floor plan. They completed the floor plan. We met with the structural engineer, the mechanical engineer, and the electrical engineer, and then the energy efficient engineer. Cause literally the building, you gotta start from scratch, cause there's no plan.
Shell.
There's just a shell, so that's why they require all this engineers to get involved with it. They're, yeah,
Did she give you an estimate to figure out if we need to do formal or informal?
No, it's formal. Yeah, it's way over that. There's gonna have 3 restrooms. So 2 for the use of the building and then 1 for staff and the District 4 office. What is it, how would you describe it? Just kind of a big gathering room?
just a big gathering room. This room could be, the nice thing about this room is it's bigger than it looks. You could have this type of meetings, this stuff is settings there, it's huge. Another thing we, with our Parks and Recreation, as it continues to develop, that could be a hub for that. The one of the nice thing too about the Soda Springs open space, by having, somebody who wants to, we needed some information about the park, they can stop there, there'll be a staff member there with be given maps or any information on the park, that would be great for that. Another reason why it would be a good idea, is a great idea, it's gonna be revenue, it's gonna make revenue for the city. Cause we'll be able to rent it out to the public for.
The space is slightly smaller than the Grange Hall open space, just.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a little bit smaller, but we have a lot of room outside, so we're thinking about like putting a fence on the outside and have like a, so you can go in and out.
So I think, yeah, that niche is, the Grange, not having a rental space anymore is, that niche is gone.
And the person, they'll have a commercial kitchen. You can, and Kevin mentioned 3 restrooms. We'll have like an outside patio, little area where folks can come in and out. And I mean, this could potentially make a lot of money during the weekends, because like you mentioned, there's not a lot of places to rent.
And is the architect using kind of our budget as a scope for?
Yes, they are, exactly, yeah. We've been working with them pretty closely.
It's so we have some money budgeted in park impact fees. We're hoping that those 2 grants cover most of it. I mean, people might get upset when they see how much it's going to cost, but we pay prevailing wage. We do everything correctly, and it's 3 restrooms, a kitchen, so it's gonna be expensive.
So we're not doing too many like ribbon windows added or doing.
And the biggest expense is gonna be paid by the county. The biggest, that's 300. We're replacing them.
Okay, a few minutes.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know if you can picture, but there's high windows in the main room. We wanna bring that down, just use the same header, just so you can see out and.
But yeah, nothing. That's gonna, because some of those costs with
It's gonna be really expensive, but
but,
I'm not gonna.
They haven't done an engineer's estimate yet.
No, they're still evaluating with the electrician and all that, so.
So I guess that's one of those design items where it's like, if she can itemize, windows, maybe if the whole project is ultimately over what our budget is, if you just maybe take it, if we don't do the windows, maybe that
Right.
would fit into.
I mean, one of the things that we're gonna have to comply with Title 24 Energy Code, so. That's what we're thinking. Well, it's basically. Everything's gotta be, maybe Mark can explain it, but it's, there's, paint windows aren't gonna cut it.
Yeah, well, when you do the windows and you have light fixtures by the window, they call that daylighting zone, so you're gonna have to lighting controls, it's probably gonna add. Some money, it's a small building, right?
I mean, it's expensive. We have a professional architect who does commercial jobs, so it's just part of it. It's just, it costs a lot of money, so it's gonna be so nice when it's done. Yeah. It's gonna be really nice. The roof is good, right?
the roof was good, the roof is all good, and then,
It's got good bones, right?
yeah, and that has got all that structurally is solid. But we just never had a set of plans, or whoever built it back in the days, just built it and we never had any plans or anything, so we had to hire all the structural engineers to make sure that everything was up to specs and code. I think once we get it up and running, the amount of revenue that it's gonna make, it's gonna be significant.
It's kind of see it as a sort of a birth of our recreation.
That's what I was thinking.
For the city.
Yeah, especially with having to,
You have any kind of matrix for rental fees or?
I was thinking, we could see what the Grange was charging, and then maybe just use that, just so it's on par. But maybe that doesn't make sense, but
Or a little bit more, cause it's.
Well, it has
Yeah.
the kitchens and everything, right?
it's where it's gonna be a lot nicer.
And who's gonna manage that for you, Hector? Is there a?
Probably me.
Oh, because no, it becomes a big thing if you got ins and outs and
Yeah.
billings and scheduling and all that
discussing,
later.
Mike.
That would pop out.
I was gonna say that it's not on today's agenda necessarily, but it is an aspect of the management of that will be at tomorrow's budget meeting for a proposed position.
So I'll try it here, okay. Cool, and
Mike's
then
gonna run it.
for Broad Street, which is the trading, is it trading outpost? What's it?
Yeah, the outpost.
I wanna get away from that name. We did contact one architect who didn't do commercial, so I did get in touch with Peter Stanley, who's an architect in Santa Rosa, and I worked with him in Windsor. And he came out, walked it. We had a meeting with the building department in terms of what they're gonna require for a permit. And so I'm just waiting for a scope of work from that architect. That's gonna be. We've allocated 100,000. But I don't know if that's gonna be enough,
And that would be for redesigning.
that was for the whole job, and this architect is gonna want. Order that.
So the goal is to get a plan, right? Spread it out, offices, whatever, and then move. Maybe Derek in the chamber over there, so we stop paying rent, and then that's our positive.
Yeah, I mean, we need to talk about that further. I think one thing would be for city to go in there, I mean, those guys.
Well, I mean, whatever.
Something like that.
I think council needs to decide like what they actually want to do.
Because, yeah, my thoughts are that maybe we should have the discussion before we get to spending any money on an architect. You know, because certainly I think, you know, where the chamber is, you know, they get this walk by traffic that otherwise. I mean, that Nina was the first person I met coming to Cloverdale because of the location of the chamber, and that, you know, might not be here today if it weren't for that moment. So, you know, I think them and the amount of walking traffic they get being on the boulevard is, you know.
The chamber did mention, I agree.
We'll probably get off topic here a little bit, but yeah. When I get the scope, bring it to council, have a further discussion. So I mean, it's generally gonna be converted to offices with the back being unconditioned space for the use of plaza.
So would that conversation just, we can bring that back to the whole council, or would that come to the subcommittee again?
We could do subcommittee first. Yeah,
You want us to provide you with the architect scope and then you
Sort
guys
of,
could lay out use cases for him to base his design off of, is that what we're?
I talked pretty generally with him, but he's like, the HVAC is done. We wanted to cut some holes in that cinder block wall, which is gonna be expensive, but as long as you don't exceed 10% of the full.
that's for windows.
Yeah,
Those reinforced walls, you know,
he's gonna have to figure that out. I'll comment or whatever it's,
so
so
scan them.
They're,
he brought that up.
Scanning's not that expensive.
The roof may or may not be toast. I think it is. I think, so
Because, yeah, so some of the thoughts are, you know, with that, we maybe discuss some of the use cases and see what we want to do with the building, what the possibilities are, I think, before committing to an architect. It's kind of,
Yeah.
because I'm not sure if we ever had that conversation as a council, sort of, you know, what our plans were long-term with the plaza.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I won't commit anything to this guy, but at least get a dollar amount. Yeah. And then
So is there any other questions or comments on item 6? Seeing none, that would be the end of our business items, and I can call this meeting adjourned at 2:49. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
I go back.